All content is brought to you by our Patreon subscribers. For $3 a month, you can help keep the lights on at From North to Wharf. We appreciate all of your ongoing support. For all your North to Wharf merchandise, head on over to our shop at fromnorthtowharf.threadless.com.
Does Hestia know you?
Oh yeah, clearly, we're on a wrong name basis.
And now we're here, and there aren't any monkeys being friends with lions!
Okay, no one said for sure there'd be monkeys, honey.
I'm not gonna arrest the moose.
He's a good boy! He's a good boy!
Being your muse no longer amuses me. That's pretty good, you can use that. But that's it! I'm done with your show.
From the Great North to Wonder Wharf! Alright!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of From the Great North to Wonder Wharf, your unofficial one-stop destination for bento box information. As always, I am Mike.
And I am JB. How's everyone doing?
Hello, and of course, JB, you want to introduce our special guest for the night?
I sure do. Hey, North to Wharfers. Today we are in for a treat as we get to interview a super talented individual. He has worked from comic books to TV screens to the big screen and so much more for Soup to Nuts, Bento Box, and beyond. He has worked as a storyboard artist, director on Soup to Nuts home movies, Bento Box's Bob's Burgers, Central Park, and the Bob's Burgers movie. He's also worked as a comic book artist for Bob's Burger comic series. He has a 12-year career over at Bento Box, and we're just very happy to talk to him. Been dying to get to talk to Damon Wong for quite a while.
Am I on?
Yes,
you're on.
Okay.
Oh, you're live.
Oh, no.
Just
Okay.
watching your face going, was I? Maybe?
Wow.
Maybe.
Cool. This is your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it, and that we know our audience does as well. So,
All right. It's good to be here. It's a weird niche. Do you guys mostly do bento box, or do you just like
that's all we do is bento.
Yeah.
So, Great North, Bob's, Central Park, very few and far between. That's no longer with us, sadly. But yeah, that's our little pocket of the internet.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. But let's hop right into it. No delays. Let's get right into it. Damon.
Yes.
Where did you grow up?
I was born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
So that makes me a citizen of Kenya.
Of course, yes. As long as the long form says so, yeah, I believe so.
And that's where I was raised. And then I moved out from college.
I used to live not too far from Honolulu. My dad was stationed in Hawaii, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the base. But yeah, I used to live not too far from there.
Hickam?
It might have been Hickam.
Was it Marines?
Marine Corps, yeah. That was at least 30 years ago. I can't remember.
No.
But a stone's throw. I remember we'd go to Costco on the weekends. We'd get a hot dog and all that fun stuff. So there's a lot going on. It was a wild childhood.
Yeah. I live near the military bases.
Hey, well then we probably ran into each other.
Maybe.
More
How old are you?
39.
Okay. No. Yeah, I'm 47, I think.
Yeah, that math checks. That math checks. So when we were both growing up in Hawaii, did you have any favorite cartoons that you really dug back then?
Look at back in the 80s, we only had like 3 TV stations.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at first it was just like from, as far as I can remember, like birth to whenever first it was like just a lot of Bugs Bunny stuff.
Of course. Yeah.
And then at some point, I think the government started cracking down on their violence, and then it was very hard to watch. But I remember when I really liked cartoons, it was just like the real Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
Muppet Babies. No one talks about Muppet Babies, but
That's a great show.
That was
It's solid.
best. Yeah, that was one of my favorite shows. I don't know why. Like no one talks about it anymore.
It's great. It's a great show. It has Indiana Jones references, Star Wars, like it touched on all the LucasArts stuff.
Yeah, and then just like typical Transformers and G.I. Joe, and then I think when it really like got like when it blew my mind is like Robotech. I don't know.
Robotech was so cool.
Yeah, when it came out, it was just like it was crazy because it was so like people died.
They didn't come back.
Yeah, it was very traumatic as a kid experiencing.
It was just like Transformers meets like G.I. Joe. It was just like this weird combination, but the ships would turn into like basically just like Gundams before Gundams. And it was like super cool.
Yeah, and then it had Min May, and then this one guy that dressed up as he was like a famous female guy, but he's a famous female singer, and then he liked Min May. And it was like a period where I was like growing up and finding my own sexuality. And I was like, I really like cartoons right now.
You get me right now.
Yeah.
It's funny that you brought up the real Ghostbusters because I'm sure you know this, but they just announced the new series.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a new animated Ghostbuster series coming out.
It's about time.
Probably next year, but I think I just saw that on one of the horror blogs, so that should be fun.
Yeah.
What they need to do is they need to redo Tales from the Crypt, the animated series. That would be dope.
Beetlejuice is probably coming.
Oh,
So,
sure,
especially with the new movie coming, they're probably going to bring it back.
JB.
Yes. So, being a little guy, when did you start drawing as a kid?
I asked my mom, and she said I was always drawing. So like as far as I can remember, she said like you could draw really good from like at least 4 years old. And I remember being the kid that can draw all the time. So
what was a 4-year-old Damon drawing?
Just animals and stuff. And then I think second grade I started drawing like naked people.
Hell yeah.
I had no idea. I have no idea of anatomy, so I was drawing
in a life drawing class, just hanging out. Drawing surfers and the sunsets.
That was me before I got the internet. I get it.
Yeah. And then I drew a lot of like boobs and penises, and then I think my mom saw it, and then
was horrified.
I don't want to condone like child abuse, but I
had it coming. I don't know.
Yeah, she beat it out of me until like college, where I could finally draw naked people without fear.
Yeah, now it's for a class, mom.
Yeah.
No.
But after that, it was just like football, and then robots, and then I took art school and became like tried to become an artist, going that route.
Less penises that route, but I mean, sure.
Yeah, it was very hard. Like I went to Carnegie Mellon, and I was like I was trying to break out of it, and like I was doing a study of just like I just had a whole page of just penises to try to break out of it. And I remember the teacher or some walking back behind me, and they're just like, "Okay, you're just doing penis studies."
Like we get it. You know how to draw a penis. We're drawing an apple today. No.
You can blame Robotech for this. I don't know what to tell you.
There's a lot of old penises.
Someone's got to draw them. Maybe you start sneaking them into like the stuff you're doing now, like the old was it Little Mermaid poster where everybody's pretty sure there's a penis on the front. You just sneak them into the artwork.
They just changed the artwork, but yeah, it totally is there.
Yeah, totally.
I wish I could, but most of the cartoon faces look like a penis.
They do. Yeah,
That's true. When did you explore the idea? Like, I know you said you went in college, you started doing your life drawing classes and stuff like that, but when did you think that maybe this could be something that you could do as a career?
I was actually big in history, and there was this thing called Citizen Bee, where it was kind of like spelling bee, and they test you on like American history and politics and current events. And then I was on TV and they asked me what I wanted to do, and I just kind of blurted out Walt Disney Animator because I thought it was a cool thing to say, and then it stuck, I guess. And then yeah, it was just like
It's like there's no going back now.
yeah, I feel like it was more like there's no way of avoiding it. Like it was a calling, you know. I don't know, because like I really thought I was gonna be like a dark, like brooding artist, but
In Hawaii, yes.
yeah, but I was very like I don't know. I forgot the term. It was like a Japanese term. Like if a nail sticks out, you hammer it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that, and you know, Hawaii is kind of like that, where like if you're kind of off and weird, you're kind of ostracized. And I was kind of like, you know, I like
right there.
Yeah, like a rebellious kind of artist, and I wanted to leave the islands a lot. But then after that, I just wanted to try to get back to Hawaii.
I kept just trying to get banned, but they just wouldn't ban me. And now I can't get back in.
Yeah, I don't know. It's rough. But yeah.
I've been trying to go back for the longest time, and it's more expensive. Or me and my wife found it's more expensive to go to Hawaii than it is for us to go to Japan. So we've been going to like Japan, South Korea. She went to India. Eventually, we'll find our way to Hawaii. But it's so like the part where we're going, like Honolulu and all that, is so touristy, and it's priced as such.
Yeah.
So it's a little less friendly.
Yeah, it's rough. A lot of locals are like getting priced out of paradise.
Yeah,
that's happening. The rich people are coming in and buying all their land and houses up.
Yeah, and it's from everywhere. Like, I think in the early '90s, it was like Japanese businessmen, and then eventually it became like Chinese businessmen, and now it's just both sides buying up stuff. And I don't know.
You basically went from the warm island to a cold island because you're on Rhode Island now, and a small island.
Yeah. I'm still an island boy. Yeah, it's not really an island though.
It's not.
It's connected.
What is that? A peninsula?
Essentially.
I don't know.
It's a thing.
Sorry. Okay.
So, when you decided you were going to be an animator and you told everybody on the news you're going to do this and I'm going to be this thing, what did that look like as you kind of getting ready to amp up to do that? Did you draw like comics as a kid or make up your own characters, or was it just kind of like take what you had and do it?
I think in like high school, I just entered a lot of art, like a lot of art contests. Like there's like a scholastic art contest there, and I was just I did very well. And then, you know, I was just trying to be I wanted to be a painter, you know. You know, paint mysterious, dark stuff. I like the dark art, but
of course,
I think I was very good at. I hate saying this, but I don't want to sound like. I was good at making fun of people in my art.
Hell yeah, no, yeah,
very satirical. Okay.
Yeah, and like, I don't want to say bully, but it's not a bully, but
yeah, it's not.
Yeah, if I was like growing up, like in today, you know, I keep thinking like I would be a really awesome bully.
Yeah, I'd be great at bullying people.
Yeah, like I would come up with just like, an animation just making fun of people.
So you would be like a really good political cartoon person who just like takes jabs at everybody.
Yeah, I think so. I mean that's what got me the job at Super Nuts, I think.
There you go. My wife used to paint. That's actually one of her things. She's a sculptor now, but she used to paint, and she just won a big old contest and got her own show, the whole 9 yards. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I wish we could get. I don't know. It's hard to think about going back. I mean, not back, but you know, just like trying to
paint and do that stuff again.
Yeah, I think graphic artist is just. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard because like you're asking like how did I try to go about things? It's like I did not want to go about doing animation. So I went to school for like art and environmental studies at Carnegie Mellon. And I think sophomore year I tried to switch from art to architecture.
Oh.
And then yeah, I don't know. They tried to kick me out of art, like the art department, because I just was not focused. And Carnegie Mellon is not like a liberal arts school where they want you to like experiment. They
No.
want you to know what you're doing. and
That's
come
why I
out.
was surprised when I read your thing and said Carnegie Mellon. I was like, we don't get too many of those.
Yeah.
I was expecting like Rhode Island Institute of like art and design, or like any of those other ones, but Carnegie Mellon's very different.
Yeah, especially the art department.
Was architecture like a fallback, or did you like architecture?
Well, it's kind of like when you grow up, like everyone tells you, you're gonna like art is not the career that you should go into, especially like I don't know, Chinese parents.
It's an Asian thing. I'm Filipino myself. It's be a doctor, be a nurse, be a lawyer.
Yeah. It was like engineer was like stressed upon everyone. I was lucky because my parents were like seamstress. They like my mom sewed clothes in Hawaii, but there was a point where they needed to like rent out a place, like a workshop, separate from our house, and then I became like a latchkey kid, and I was kind of like raised by my brother instead, and he tried. I think he was a good influence because he mostly kind of guided me, like eventually toward animation. But yeah, I think like even like in college, I only took I don't know how to explain. My brother went to Brandeis University, and he had like he was going for an American Studies major, but at some point in like senior year, he caught the film bug where he wanted to be a filmmaker, and then so whenever he came, he visited us, and then I actually lived with him over the summer. He would just constantly rent movies and stuff, and he actually got like a job at a video store because he imagined like Quentin Tarantino did this, I should do it.
Yes. Everyone should do that, or the Kevin Smith route. Yes.
Yeah, and then
that's why I did it, not because I couldn't find another job, but because I was going to be a filmmaker. That's why I worked at a Blockbuster.
Yeah, it was weird, right? And there's no Blockbusters anymore.
Not anymore, no. See, we're old. We're older. So
yeah, and so I think in my junior year that happened, and then I decided to take like an animation course that was not even part of Carnegie Mellon. It was like no, was it? No, yeah, it was part of Carnegie Mellon. It was just like some crappy animation course using like Macromedia. It was like pre-Flash.
Oh.
Yeah.
They just taught like walk sequences and no, just walk sequences and squash and stretch. They didn't have any acting whatsoever. And then I put that in my demo reel with some crappy student film stuff. Yeah.
Now, did you ever seriously consider doing the architecture route, or are you like, you know what, this is a fallback, but I'm actually going to push forward with the art, even though it may not be the most viable of options?
Yeah,
it's strange because like most of my friends from Carnegie Mellon are architect students, but I was part of a art department called BHA, so Bachelor of Humanities and Arts, and I was supposed to have a art degree and concentrate on something in the humanities department. And then before they tried to kick me out, I don't know. Like I had a portfolio review where they tried to kick me out, but then I also talked to like the dean of the art school there, and he kind of said like, "Oh, you're like one of the best." Not to toot my own horn, but he was like, "You're like one of the best students that I've ever seen for a long time," and it's kind of. And then I remember there was another teacher that said, "It's kind of sad that you're trying to do architecture. You're not architecture material. You're an artist."
One of us. Stay one of us.
I was too free, like rebellious and free thinking, because I think like they were trying to like. I was at a high level when I was of like drawing when I was there, and they would have art courses to draw, and then I would just do I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I would do really good drawings.
That's fine.
So it seems like you're more like I am top of the class. I got the skills, but I kind of just want to do my own thing. And they were kind of, no, move this way. Yeah.
I remember they had a assignment where it's like do a self-portrait, and then everyone was just trying to draw themselves and it was ugly.
Mhm.
But I drew myself as a cartoon, like just like 3 circles and a mouth, and it was cute. But
Mhm.
the teacher hated me for that.
Mhm.
And
You
then
didn't do
that
what
was in the
they
beginning.
wanted.
That was in the beginning of the class, and then I demonstrated that I could, Picasso knew how to draw, but after a while, he had other things to think. He was more concerned.
He was just
about
kind of
what he drew.
bored with that process. He's like, everyone draws this way. I'm drawing this way.
Yeah, and I think that's the usual evolution of like any artist. Like if they're into music, they eventually go into jazz. And everyone thinks like I can't dance this jazz. So,
I don't know. I tried to play jazz. I used to play drums, and I tried to do jazz. It's the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
They always say it's like the notes you don't play, but I was fucking up the notes that I was playing, and I was like, I can't do this. I'm gonna go back to rock and roll. That's so much easier.
Yeah, and you can understand that. I remember one guy was like, he was into bagpipes, and then he was trying to explain like Mongolian guttural singers.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I don't get it. But he's just like, no, this guy's hitting chords. You don't understand. No one can sing chords, but these guys.
It's wild. I recently saw a video with the lead singer of this band named Lorna Shore, and he went to ENT doctor, and they put a little microscope down his throat and just had him do his vocal ranges, and just watching the vocal ranges and how they mapped it out. And it was amazing because he was doing the guttural singing like you were talking about and hitting all these notes that they didn't think was humanly possible. And it was very wild.
Yeah. And I think only musicians could appreciate that.
Yeah. It's insane.
You could probably join H. John Benjamin's jazz band, Mike. I'm sure he's looking for a drummer.
Hey, yeah, if he can't play piano, I can't play drums. Yeah, I think we got it.
I think that's the next phase. Is you just need a bunch of people who can't play, and they just make a jazz album.
I wanted to get that album in vinyl, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
I think they have the second one still. I know he has like 2.
He has 2 now. Yeah. I listen to it occasionally on Spotify. Like, this is great.
It's wild.
He is playing in rhythm, like he was actually doing, but he's just hitting the wrong keys.
He is. I remember watching him on Stephen Colbert, and Colbert's band was playing. They were all professional about it, and then like they paused, and he just clank, 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 and then do 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 clank, 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 clank. I'm like, all right. Dude,
well, the best is when he yells. He yells at the band like, "Come on, boys, give it to him!" It's just like, what are you doing?
As if they're the ones who are messing up.
Exactly.
Get it together.
It's wonderful.
And everyone's competent except for him.
Yeah.
He said they picked up on it fairly quickly after recording just one song that he had no idea what he was doing, and they were carrying him the whole way.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a good bit.
To get us back on our tracks here, in 1999, FX ordered a 13-episode season of the Dick and Paula's Celebrity Hour. The show was short-lived and only aired 6 episodes, with the other 7 actually either being created and shelved or not created at all. They never saw the light of day. Of course, this show had a lot of our voice actors that we know and love to this day: Andy Kindler, H. John Benjamin, just to name a few. How did you come about to work on this show?
I guess after college, I just wanted to get in. I don't know how to describe it, but it was just like there was an ad for a video editor.
Okay.
And it was at Tom Steiner Productions, and then I applied, and I don't know what I was applying for. They just said video editor, and I was just trying to get like maybe just an entry level position.
Mm-hmm.
And I met with this guy, like Ivan Rudrick. But anyway, and he was like the main editor for Dr. Katz. And then he said, I showed him my reel, and there was there's live action crap, and then at the end was just like walk cycles, to demonstrate the animation part. And they were like, oh my god. And the thing is, they didn't hire animators at Tom Snyder Productions. So it was just like, oh my god, you're like the best thing ever. And I got the job, but I was like hired to be like a hybrid editor animator. But eventually, I just became a straight animator.
Now, was this a posting that was like in a trades magazine, or was this at like the college, or how does one find this kind of posting?
I think it was like the year like 1999, so it's got to be like
newspaper. Oh, so the very early days of the internet.
Yeah, and I think it was a newspaper, and I was really trying to like figure. I mean, Boston's not like really a big hub for like broadcast stuff, but I saw it, and then I applied for it, and then
they saw those walk cycles you put together on that one class, and they were wowed by that.
Yeah, and then I had my sketchbook with them, and then they saw it. And I was gonna say, like, when I went to college, I was actually gonna abandon art because it was just like it got me depressed. I don't know. It was like they wanted to kick me out, and and the architecture. Like I knew I didn't want to do architecture either because it was just kind of like buildings.
Yeah.
They always talk about space and stuff, and then I couldn't get into the whole space thing of architecture.
Yeah, no, I get that.
What was it more not being able to do the art that you wanted, or was it more just art in general was just kind of falling out of love with it?
I don't know. I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then I think just when I got the job for animation, they kind of just forced me into it, and then that's when I kind of I really just like hyper focused on animation. It was like during the time period of like Powerpuff Girls, Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab, and that's all I really wanted to do was like that, like the new Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah.
So when you applied, you didn't know, like they didn't say, "Oh, this is for a new animated show."
No, it was
nothing.
They were looking for home movies instead of Dick and Paula. I think I ended up on Dick and Paula after home movies. Like the first 5 episodes when they got canceled, and then they didn't know what else to do, so they just stick me on Dick and Paula. I don't really remember Dick and Paula too much. Like I wasn't really crazy about that show.
I watched a couple of the episodes and I was like, okay, clearly this is in like the same universe as like a Dr. Katz and a Home Movies.
Yeah.
With the Squiggle Vision, of course. How was the show pitched to you when you finally learned what you were going to be working on?
I don't know. They don't really pitch it to us. No. It's like you're assigned to this, and then you just do your research. And it was a weird studio because it's like compared to other studios like you see in Hollywood, it was very no one knew what they were doing. Like no one. I remember they would just give out cassettes, and then you would put it in a stereo, the ones that you hold over your head.
Oh yeah.
You would just play it and you would just draw to it. There was like no drawing to audio or anything like that. And then they would have this program that would just make it squiggle.
Oh.
And it was in DOS.
Jesus.
Yes. It's very primitive.
It was very problematic, yeah.
Yeah, now, okay, I was saying, is it hard to do Squiggle Vision? But if it's a program that does it, then okay, then maybe not so much.
I'd say Dr. Katz, they actually drew, like the squiggle is 5 frames just repeating over and over.
Just repeating over and over and over.
And
okay.
Dr. Katz, that group drew everything 5 times, but they discovered something in the program called a macro that would actually just squiggle it for you. It was. I milked, like I squeezed out as much as you can out of that program, but they're going to discontinue DOS, so
we kind of had to figure something else out.
Yeah, thank God. I hated working on Squiggle Vision.
It seems like you were not alone. Most people seem to just be like, once we could move out of it, that sounded great. But I remember they saying like it's cheap and it's easy to do.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, let's use it. But like, at the same time, it drives people crazy.
Yeah, like trying to boot into DOS, like who does that? Who buys a computer and boots into DOS, and then you have to type out all your commands, and you only have like I don't know how many, like 64 colors to work with. Yeah, it was horrible, but
He's a painter, damn it. He's a
It-
painter. He needs more.
It was
Yeah.
wild up until, let's see, the pandemic was 2020. So I would say up until 2018, we were doing all of our credit card charges and paying our credit cards with my state job through a DOS system. And it was just like the green text, black and like tab, 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 tab. And it was infuriating because it's 2017. I have a PlayStation 4 where I can see the moon on my phone. Why are we using DOS? And I'm like, we're the state, baby.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no, I don't know. It's just like you have to know what you're typing in the commands. And I remember, like, to try to share your library, like on the server, was like chaotic. And I remember I was trying to uninstall something, but I was it uninstalled everything in a certain folder, so it uninstalled the entire server.
That's when you just log off for the day. I'm like, you know what? No.
Yeah,
These things sort themselves out. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah,
I
was lucky they backed everything up, but I was just like, oh my god, this is.
At that point, you just jump up and go, "Who's deleting stuff from the system?"
No,
I love that.
They knew it was me.
I love that a program's there. Like, you want to delete everything? Sounds great. Let's just do that. I'll delete myself. Let's do it.
Are you sure's? Yeah.
Yeah, none of that. No checks. Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know what else you want to learn about Squiggle Vision, but I was happy that we're going to get out of it, and then we're going to work on like something. I mean, everyone has a bad rap about Flash and everything, but it was like the best thing compared to Squiggle Vision.
Squiggle Vision.
Yeah, I think like Tom Snyder actually was looking to try to buy the program from whoever made animation. It was called Animated Pro.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, he wanted to buy it and then just like use it for himself. But I think he sold the company to Scholastic, and then they kind of pushed him to the side. I think because like Scholastic, I don't know, I don't want to say anything that might not be true, but in my point of view, I felt like Scholastic was just buying out their competition, and then when they did, they didn't know what to do with us.
Sounds like a lot of companies these
Yeah,
days.
it does. Yes, it does. That's a tactic.
Yeah, and then we were like Scholastic employees when we were doing like home movies and stuff.
Huh.
It was,
Well, that's a good segue because
That is odd. Yeah, that works.
home movies. Also in '99, you worked on another favorite show of ours, Home Movies, with Soup to Nuts. You served as a senior animator, creating storyboards and animating episodes in Squiggle Vision, of course. But I think they only did Squiggle Vision for like one season.
Yeah, like 5 episodes.
Yeah, and then they kind of moved to what they were known for. Now, of course, at this time, Lauren Bashard isn't the Lauren Bashard that we know. He's just a guy. So what was it like working with him in those earlier days on a new show on top of that?
I mean, when I got in, they were just doing home movies. My memory of Dick and Paula was very rare, but it was mostly home movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember getting hired by this guy, Chris Georginas. Like he's like considered like the Flash guru of Adobe, and he's written books about working in Flash. But before he was just a guy that like he was a good drummer. But yeah, he wanted to do home movies, and he was the director. But then I think after he got like canned by UPN, they switched persons. Aya Fukuda was directing it at that point, and then I don't know. I didn't really deal too much with Lauren. Like it was like only until we like showed the storyboards or final animation that he kind of came in and put in his 2 cents. Yeah.
For our younger audience, UPN is the precursor to the CW.
Yeah.
Little disclaimer.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, I mean, I think he knew that I don't know how to describe it, but like it was kind of like chaos over there. Like no one knew what they're doing.
Seemed to be a running theme.
Yeah, and then everyone just kind of did their own thing, and then you can kind of tell from watching like home movies like who did which episode, because like the continuity was just off.
Is there some? Does it feel a little more liberating that way, or do you crave structure to say, "Hey, we need to do this just for continuity's sake"?
Depends. Like if the guy was good, then you want.
Yeah.
like I love the chaos. But if the guy was like I don't know, not imaginative or couldn't draw it, just like, maybe you should like try to learn how to.
Have you thought about architecture?
Yeah, it's like
Or
just
maybe
because,
working on DOS.
Yeah, like just because you can eat doesn't mean you can cook.
This is true.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Not to shit talk my coworkers back then. I love them all, but
So I have them all off
No,
camera
no.
listening right now. So
Yeah. I mean, we've had someone on, Mike, when we had Peter on. He literally said that he didn't know how to draw too well. He took one class and he asked the guy next to him, because they're like, we're going to hire some animators for a movie. And he's like, I'm looking for a job. So he asked the guy next to him, could you show me how to animate a ball bouncing? And the guy showed him. He drew it. And it's like, I worked on it for days to get it that way. And then they're like, oh, good, you can do it. You're hired. We're going to work on Space Jam. Here's the whole thing. You got to do this. And he's like, so he kind of just figured it out on the fly. He's like, I have to. He's like, I need a job, so I'm sinking or floating. Some people make it till they make it.
Like a lot of illustrators just go into animation thinking that they could do it, but
it's so different.
It's very different. Like it's a different beast. You got to switch your mind into thinking about how it looks moving rather than I'm drawing
stationary.
But yeah, space. Like a lot of good artists were on home movies. Like they actually make pretty like Christian Genius. Like I mean, he was a good animator anyway, but his drawing was just like amazing. But yeah, I don't know. We're kind of just like trying to simplify animation back then, and we were one of the first Flash animation TV shows.
Yep.
And I know that has bad context to it, but
it still holds up. I mean,
yeah.
it's still great.
You could use it's the way that the program is used, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think for like even like Bob's Burgers, they're using Harmony, that software, and it's the same program that it's like Rick and Morty. So it kind of defines how the show is going to be put together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that, but pays bills.
is Harmony the industry standard at this point? Like if some aspiring animator is watching right now, if there was like one program they should kind of familiarize themselves with, would that be something?
Yeah, I would say back then, like maybe 3 years ago, maybe.
Oh, that's the problem. Everything changes so fast now.
It does change so fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of software out there that, like, if I was to recommend software to people to learn, it would be just like learn Blender because it's free and it has a drawing aspect to it. And then whatever you draw in 2D, you can apply 3D stuff to it. And then there's another program, Procreate Dreams on iPad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn that because it's just helpful to, not be tethered to your computer.
That's what we use for our graphic design is Procreate. So Procreate Dreams, that's the next step. But I can't draw on Procreate, let alone Dream. So
Procreate seems to be the way for a lot of tattoo artists, just art in general, because they don't want to pay Adobe all the money for everything.
Yeah, I just kind of I actually just recently got away from Adobe. The only thing I paid for is like Lightroom and Photoshop.
Yeah. Adobe's going through their own thing right now with artists kind of jumping ship because
they're done. It's so expensive every year to pay for just one program, let alone a whole suite if you need them.
Well, not even that. Like in the terms and services, like in the fine print, it says like we own your stuff in perpetuity and we can use it for whatever we want.
It's the AI
kick rocks. So pay us and give us your stuff. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so old that like AI means Adobe Illustrator.
Hell yeah, it does.
It does.
Hell yeah, it does.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, I know a lot of artists who are just like screw Photoshop. It's doing AI.
JB, I kind of lost my place. I'm lost in the sauce.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point out real quick when we tweeted out that we were going to be interviewing you tonight. Lauren actually tweeted back and said Damon is one of the smartest guys I've ever met, and that
you're his hero.
You're his hero.
Oh yeah, I mean we respected each other. I mean he was like he directed the show. Like I don't know how to describe in Soup to Nuts. It kind of has like a divide like artists and then the audio department. And the audio department deals with all the artists. I mean the
voice actors and that.
Yeah, and then the art department just
Just do your thing.
yeah, it's like a mental thing. Like it felt like they're opposed against each other, but they're really not.
They both need each other.
Yeah,
They'll never admit it.
it was a fun time. I mean, man, yeah, there was like one of my best friends there was like he was like the drug dealer of the studio.
Okay.
And yeah, during the breaks, I mean, I didn't do any of the drugs, but he
Of
was
course.
just like at a side gig where he would just like deal marijuana to everyone there.
Hey, you need a side hustle. You can't just think one job's going to do it.
The voice talent needs something. You got to have your guy.
And I think every studio has a drug dealer, but no one talks about him.
No, they're paid under the table.
Yeah,
It's all
they're
off
not.
the book.
They're not posting that in the newspaper.
Yeah.
They're not.
No. And then when I went to I directed one episode and I actually traveled. I went to stay in LA for like three months, and I swear I was looking for the drug dealer there and I couldn't find it. I thought it was a security guard, but it wasn't.
That's the weirdest thing. Like I do not partake. Do whatever makes you feel good. If somebody were to put a gun to my head and say, "Find me drugs," I could not find drugs for the life of me. I don't know where people get them. I don't know where they're grown. I don't know how they're made.
If you're in Hawaii, taxi cab drivers know where they're.
Yeah, I was gonna say in Hawaii, it seems to be a little easier.
We all know a guy.
Yeah.
And apparently, the suburbs of Northern Virginia is pretty easy to come by too, but I never did.
Yeah, I don't know where to get marijuana. I don't know where to get my drugs usually. It's like my girlfriends at the time would just have someone.
All right.
But yeah, I didn't do any of the drugs.
No, Damon does not know where the drugs are. Stand down.
No.
All right, we're good. All right. Okay, so with everything kind of seems like it's getting rebooted these days. Obviously, there's news of the King of the Hill reboot. Beavis and Butthead came back. We got Futurama. Do you ever see home movies?
Yeah, I saw the episode where you guys talked about it. Like, it was one of the things that you guys said, and I was like, yeah, it makes total sense because it'd be a total different beast because everyone has like a 4K camera on their phone.
Yeah. Like we know the characters have popped up in Bob's, of course, like little one-offs, and hopefully that didn't go over a lot of folks' head because we saw it, we were high-fiving, we were like, oh my god,
Brendan's back.
Yay!
Yeah, I don't know how they would reboot it. I mean, I was like running through a bunch of scenarios in my head. Like, you can't really reboot it like with Brendan and Melissa and Jason again. Like, it would have to be like they're growing up and living in LA, and
That's what they're doing. The King of the Hill sounds like.
yeah, I would say like Brendan's trying to be an influencer or something. Or, like,
I mean, just give them like a movie. Like Metalocalypse got a movie to wrap up their whole story. So give home movies a movie. The home movies movie. It writes itself. I don't wait on folks.
It's time for them to make a movie. If they're going to do the Tarantino route, maybe he works at the last blockbuster. It's time to do something.
I know. I didn't realize it had such a following. I know some people were just like they would wear their home movies gear, like sweatshirts in places, and people would stop them and tell me, "I love that movie. I love the show." And I remember I was working in Bento, and then I forgot which guy. One of the directors that is currently a director right now, he came in and he was just like, "I watched that show when I was a teenager. I loved it." And I was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, you shut up. Get out of
You
here.
don't know a damn thing about Squiggle Vision. You don't know anything that I had to go through.
It made me
Make
feel
that-
old.
Yeah, just call him a child. And that person was Simon Chong.
No.
No,
That's
not him. It's someone else, though. Now we have to figure that out.
We'll find out. One of the young kids.
Yeah, it was a young kid.
God, in other words, like I this kind of relates, but I remember I was working at a hotel once and I was talking to the person who was relieving me for the midnight shift, and I brought up TRL, and we all know what TRL is, of course, and she's a blank look on her face. She's like, what's that? I was like, I almost just shook her like a baby. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know TRL? What are you talking about? She's like, I'm 18. I was like, ah.
Back in the day, they
Youth
used
is
to
wasted
show
on you.
Music videos after school.
And my wife is 12 years younger than me, and I would say like I have like a T-shirt that said "Mr. T," like "Shut up, fool," and then she was like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "You don't know who Mr. T is?"
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh man, Mr. T pities the fool.
That's it's weird because our producer, we call her our producer, she helps us behind the scenes. she only knows 9/11 because of history books.
Yeah,
and like that's kind of where I draw the line. I'm like, if you haven't lived this, you're a baby.
Yeah, that's rough. One of
Yeah.
our people just don't even know certain comedians anymore, or like certain shows that it's like, how do you not know what that is?
I remember, like at Soup to Nuts, like that was where 9/11 happened, and we like canceled like work like for the next like I don't know how many days. But I remember I was like with Aya Fukuda and her fiance, like in some in a diner in Watertown, and then we were just like, oh jeez, I hope it's not the Chinese.
Life's already hard. I can't have this right now.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess we'll meet in the concentration camp. So
yeah, wait till they start rounding us up, and then we'll worry about it.
Yeah,
I was getting my braces off, and I was just living just outside of DC, and the lady who was working on my braces, her husband worked at the Pentagon. So while it was happening, she's running in and out of the office, and I'm sitting there just like trying to get my braces off. And like 45-minute procedure is now like 2 hours. I'm like, can we just focus, people?
Yeah, well, it is a strange thing. Like, just current event stuff. Like, remember when Boston Marathon was bombed?
Yeah.
And the person, they were hiding in Watertown, Massachusetts, which is where Soup to Nuts was. And then everything was on the news, and we were like looking like, I know that diner that the sniper is on. And then we all kind of got on Facebook and started talking, and they were just like, "Oh, so how's Lauren doing?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, great working."
I can't get off of this. I don't know if you remember the DC sniper, but that was 95. I lived right in the middle to where he was going. So Stafford was right in the middle between like DC and King's Dominion. So he would drive up and down. And one time, one of the shots was at the mall, which was 5 minutes away. So we're just watching. He's like, I was just there. That's the Michaels we go to. It was wild.
Yeah, it was wild. But yeah, that was like, if there was like a reunion for home movies, it was during the Boston.
Good timing. JB, I think we're on Word Girl.
We are on Word Girl. So your next project was on PBS Kids, another Tom Snyder production. He seemed to like transition from like home movies to then doing like educational television for a while.
Yeah, it was rough. I actually quit my job at Soup to Nuts, and then I was like a freelancer, and then they hired me back as a freelancer to do storyboards for Word Girl. I don't know how it was just an educational TV show, and I remember it paid the bills. yeah.
Say if IMDb is to be believed, you were on it for a good long while.
Yeah, it was for a long time, and then it was a rough time period because I think during that time I was like, my brother got cancer, and I was like taking care of him, and then at some point he passed away, and then it was during like the end of Word Girl where like I found out Lauren was doing Bob's Burgers, and then I was in a depressed mood, and I just like Facebook texted his wife, which they met at Soup to Nuts, so I knew his wife, and I was like, I hear your husband's doing Bob's Burgers. I want in.
Please get me out.
Yeah, and I actually talked to like this other producer at Home Movies, Jack Ferriello. And he said that like he was talking to Lauren before, and like Lauren was actually saying like I'm doing the show, I need someone like Damon, and then Jack was like, why don't you just hire Damon? But they didn't hire Damon. They hired like Bernard, which he's way better.
It's always we need a Damon type.
Yeah, I mean Hollywood, like compared to Boston, like everyone's more talented than I was.
But who's gonna draw the penises?
They could probably draw penises. The stories I've heard of what's going on in their studios is just like, oh my god.
By the time that you had texted Lauren's wife, was the season 1 already airing, or was that?
Yeah, I think it was airing.
Okay, were you a fan of the show at that point, or have you checked it out at least?
It was kind of just started to air, and I think when I texted his wife, I think she relayed the message because he sent me like an email on like it was like equivalent to AOL, but he wrote me like, "Oh, you're interested? I'll try to set things up." And then I remember, and then a year passed, and I kind of gave up on it.
A year after? Holy smokes!
Yeah, I mean,
time got away.
Like it's like in animation, it's like it takes forever to get something started, but when it does, it's like do it now. You know, we did it yesterday.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the associate producers called me like, want to bring it in, go in, and I think I was like, my brother just passed away, and I was just like, I was gonna bury my brother in Hawaii, so I was gonna stop over in LA and meet with Laura and see how he was doing.
Yes, as you do,
And then I guess the rest is history. I got the job.
Congrats! I was gonna ask how did it go, but yeah, congrats.
Seems good.
I lied on. They asked if I knew Storyboard Pro, and I was like, "Yes, I do," and I did.
It's like
I'm
when they ask us
if
we know Microsoft Excel. It's like, of course I know Microsoft Excel. I don't know Microsoft Excel.
Yeah,
I haven't figured it out.
I can convert anything to DOS. Just let me know. I can do it for you.
Yeah. Like I don't know. There's a point where I'm just very conceited person where I'm just like I am a tech guru, and then I could learn this program really quickly. And if they ask why am I doing it this way, I'll just say it's like Photoshop.
That's how I was taught.
Yeah, it's how I learned it. It was more photography than animation.
Old man Brown taught me this way. He's a professor.
Yeah,
I don't see what the issue is. As long as the end result is what they want. What does it matter if I take the scenic route to get there? Just let me do the work.
It may have been that they didn't like what was happening.
Hey, 2 + 2 is going to equal 4 if I take an hour to get there or 2 seconds to get there. It is what it is.
Yeah. And then when I tried to learn Storyboard Pro, it's like compared to Flash, you can't do a lot. Like it was just, it felt like I was very handcuffed. But I think it's by design. Like you can only have one timeline for the whole thing, so you can't have like another person on another timeline interacting with another timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like when you edit something, you can have multiple timelines, but for Storyboard Pro, you only get one timeline, and it's made for storyboard artists, like you draw on paper. But I think because we went on paper and we work on a computer, and now we can import audio, it kind of changed the whole pipeline of animation that it still tries to stick to paper animation style, but come on, we don't need timing artists stuff like that. It's kind of hard because there's the union is in LA and they have certain jobs that are protected by defined by the union, and one of them is animation timer, which is what I learned was they figure out where the blinks are and how to, the mouse movement stuff, and I'm like, I could do that while I'm animating.
Yeah, just condense that into one job. There you go.
I mastered Storyboard Pro in one day. I can do this job.
I can count a blink.
Yeah. And the thing, blinking to me, I don't know, when you're in animation, blinking is such a powerful thing. I don't know how to describe it. You draw a picture and then you just make it blink. You're like, holy shit, it's alive.
Do they just sit there with a stopwatch and we need a blink? We need a blink. Get it in there.
That's how the program was designed. If you had a stopwatch, but you're on a computer, you could see the time on it. Why do you need to have it this way? Where there's
you could probably, there has to be some sort of a programmer out there that'd be like, I can program it to literally make characters blink, and you just set the time that you want it to happen, and it'll happen.
I wanted to. I want as an animator, you're a little bit of a control artist where you want to control the blinks. I was telling intern, whenever you move your eyes from one side to the other side, there's a blink in between.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not your eyes move like this. It's a blink, and it adds to the expression.
Right. He is right. Yeah. He's right.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah.
JB, this is how we break into the industry. All right, we're gonna start counting blinks.
The science of sound. We call ourselves the Blink Masters. We're here to master the blinks for your show. We've noticed there's been a drop in blinks lately. People have noticed.
I think there's art to it. Like there's art in like lip sync and art into like eye acting, which includes
We
blinks.
could have been on the movie payroll, Mike. Literally, just being like, blanks. Where are the blanks?
What the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing?
Give me an animator. I need more blanks.
I didn't know. Like I might be wrong, but I was like looking at like how things are, like who gets, when you like win an Emmy for the show and who can order the statue. It was like the guy that does the blinks could order the statue.
God, everybody gets one.
I just got a plaque. I just got like a piece of paper.
Those things are heavy as hell. I got to hold one. They're heavy as hell, or much heavier than you'd expect them to be.
Yeah, you can win one though. It's like there's the Emmys and then there's like regional Emmys, like no one heard about.
Oh yeah.
You can win one and then order the statue for being the best at it. Like,
But you got to go through the blink guy to get one.
it costs money.
It always does. It always does.
Like when you win, you have to buy the statue.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna need that back for the next person.
I don't know
We'll
if they're
send
gonna-
you yours.
I don't know if they're gonna kick me out of the academy.
You're revealing secrets.
Revealing secrets.
I remember I got to visit the old Bento studio in Burbank, and Mario was on Bob's at the time. And he's like, "Hey, you want to hold an Emmy?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to hold an Emmy." And he handed me. I was like, "Oh shit, okay." I had a double fisted. I was like, "Whoa!" He was holding a sword or something. But yeah, they're bigger and heavier than I thought they'd be.
Yeah. It's a good.
Maybe Damon can shine some light on was the old Burbank studio haunted?
Since I worked in Rhode Island, not too familiar.
I always ask. I have to now.
But it was a former old folks home. Like when they hired me to do direct one episode, they needed to make an office for me, and then they gutted out like the former bathroom that was for the old people there. And then they put me in there, and that was my office for the day. And then I tweeted out like, where I'm sitting right now, someone was taking a shit and then saw Jesus and passed away.
Smells like old man shit in here. I wonder if our paths might have crossed because you did the Hurt Soccer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was at the table read for the Hurt Soccer and V for Valentine Detta. And I wonder if our paths might have crossed then.
Maybe. I don't know many people there. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Like they know me through just like word of mouth. Like that's the guy that works from afar.
He's in Rhode Island. Oh, is that Damon? That's Damon.
Yeah.
He's in town. Someone must be getting it today.
Yeah. I mean, it was like that was pre-COVID, where like the guy that works from home far away. There was another guy in Australia too. Adam, I forgot his name.
That's wild that even back then they were doing remote work. I mean, obviously it's easy to do, but now it's just an everyday thing. But back then you just assumed everybody was in Burbank or LA or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they tried to make you go there. Like when I visited, it was like they're just everyone's just trying to make you move there. Like it was like almost, I don't want to. It was like almost like a cult. Like come move here.
Yeah.
No. I don't want to commute with you so you can use the carpool lane. I don't want to be that person.
If it wasn't for the traffic, I probably would have.
Oh God, the traffic out there.
Oh no, it's miserable.
We have another East Coast guy, Aaron Humiston.
Yeah,
Humiston? He's in, I think, Philadelphia, so he's out on the West Coast or East Coast as well. So
he's a Jersey boy, but yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. Like when I went there, like there was people from the East Coast were just like oh, I don't know. They just bring in their prejudices of LA. Like everyone's fake over there, but they're just like, I really wish I had like New York pizza. Here. It's like I tried New York pizza. It's not that great.
That's the argument. Is you're not winning that
That's
argument.
it. Yeah. Okay. There's plenty of good food out west too.
Yeah,
You just don't have pizza for a couple days. That's not a big deal.
That's like reason number one to move to LA. It was just like, damn, the food's really good here. Like
that is true.
Yeah.
Like I said, if it wasn't for the traffic, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But the traffic is shit. It's always
Yeah.
I've driven in DC, New York. The worst traffic is probably LA. Second to DC, but LA is terrible.
Even when you live in Hawaii, I thought Hawaii traffic was the worst.
That was about 30 years ago when I only remember eating a hot dog in a van. We would drive through the mountains. So I remember that part being pretty sweet. I'm sure once we got into Honolulu proper, it was packed. But I mean, 8-year-old me with a hot dog, sesame seed bun hot dog, wasn't really paying too much attention.
Yeah, I would say Hawaii is the worst traffic, and then LA. It really eats up your time. Like Hawaii, you can see where you're going, like because it's an island. You only have
you just a giant circle.
Yeah, you only have one way to get there, and you can see where you're going, and you're like, I could walk there right now, but I'm stuck in traffic.
That's like LA a lot because you're like, I can see where I'm going, but there's no movement, and I can't get by, so I'm just stuck here.
Yeah,
Northern.
You'll make good progress, and you're going like, oh, I'm going to totally make this event, and then suddenly like you're 3 blocks away, and then it's just like the cops. Oh yeah, when I went there, I was trying to go there, but Obama, he's from Hawaii, so he was there, and then like traffic.
Is he though? No.
Traffic stopped there, and it was just like frozen, and everyone got out of their car, and it was just like, oh, Obama.
Thanks, Obama. When I was living in Northern Virginia, I was going to go to his inauguration, the first one, and I sat at the exit to get onto the metro for about 3 hours. I got up at like 3 a.m. so I could make it, and I just sat at the exit till about 6 a.m. I was like, I'm not going to make it. Everybody's clearly already there, and I can't get on the metro, and I can't park anywhere, so I sat in the lane for hours and hours and hours because I couldn't get off. I had to just ride the wave. But yeah, Northern Virginia, DC traffic is the worst. Then LA.
Yeah.
Then Hawaii, perhaps. JB, you got to rein me in. What happened, buddy? I blacked out again.
So we're in Bob's Burgers now. So
right.
we were mostly asking questions about the show itself, what it was like to work on this kind of a show. I know you asked Lauren for the job. You got it saying that you knew Storyboard Pro, but didn't. What was it like to work in Rhode Island on Bob's Burgers, starting like in season 2, when really it was still kind of up in the air if they were going to keep going or not?
It was good. I don't know how to describe it. I remember I told you about Jack Ferrial. He was like a producer. He was like a writer on home movies, and he kind of. I met him in LA when he got a job with Disney, and he told me that I forget. It was like I talked to Lauren more when I lived in New England, and I was like just calling him on a call. But like once I moved to LA, I have no contact. Like I can't talk to him at all. Mm-hmm. And I remember going there, and they put up. You ever watch this like Saturday Night Live where there's a guy like, and you are,
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. He had an assistant that was like, just like,
hey, hold on.
He's the moneymaker here.
Yeah, LB's a little busy right now.
Yeah. And I was just like, I just want to give him this little drawing I did.
Your little drawing's gonna have to.
Say, just leave it here. We'll get it to him.
Yeah, like for LA, there's just like the talent, and then there's the assistants, and then they kind of work together. And just trying to just get the ear of Lauren is kind of hard if you're not also a talent.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I talked to his wife when I went to one party.
That's a good contact to have. If you can't get to the man himself, at least you got a beeline to his wife and say, "Hey, pass this."
This is a drawing I did of Lauren. I wanted to have it.
I was shocked because whenever I tried to do these things and they put up like a roadblock, I don't know how the Hollywood in me comes in. I'm like, I know Lauren Bouchard. Yeah. I'm gonna call him right now, and
you are so fired.
You're so done. You're so done.
I did that the Comic-Con where they had their panel and the line was just way too long, and I'm like, I'm cutting.
You know who I am.
Yeah,
I work on this show. I am the show.
And then I think the head person of Bento right now, Janelle got me in.
Yeah.
And then I sat down, and then I was treated rudely by Linda, someone dressed as Linda. I was like, this is
no. it's always hit or miss because like the fan base is we love the show.
Yeah.
And if we're standing in line for hours and then all of a sudden this guy who supposedly is an animator, storyboard artist on the show just coming through, we're gonna have something to say.
When they toured, they're like all the actors toured like the country. I went to Boston, and then I had a pass. Said that I was like I worked there, and I something overcame me where like I work there. I know.
Oh no! It's just like that scene in Wayne's World where you just like showing your pass, like cool.
Yeah.
Walk on by.
I'm the father of Squiggle Vision. Move aside.
Yeah.
I hate it when my ego takes over.
Hey, it does as long as it gets you there.
I want to see this. Let me get in.
Yeah, just basically.
Just start flipping over entrees and like, get me, Lauren. All right, calm down.
I would say comparing to home movies versus Bob's Burger, it was night and day. Like comparing the two, the pipeline. Like Bob's Burgers has a gigantic budget, and they had a whole system to actually produce the show, like at a professional level. While home movies,
people knew what they were doing.
No one knows what they're doing, and we're just making up as we go along. And some of us got, worked it out, and some of us didn't. And I don't know. In some ways, home movies was more fun because it's like you had more freedom to do all. Like I would get away with murder on that thing. Like I would not read the script and just listen to the audio and just storyboard that way. And
I got to think with as big as Bob's is now, there's a lot more cooks in the kitchen, if you will.
Yeah, I would never get away with that. They'd be like, "What do you mean you didn't read the script?"
There's no dinosaur in this episode. What the fuck is this?
Like, don't you think my way's funnier?
Now, obviously, you've been on the show for a while, tons of episodes under your belt. Do you have a favorite episode you've worked on, or just in general from the run of the show so far?
My favorite one that I did not work on was Boys for Now, the first one. I like that. Like Louise was, I don't know, finding her sexuality, and then Tina was guiding her.
Robotech.
Yeah, and I love that dynamic there. And like Kristen Shaw's voice acting is just perfect. But like for working, I worked under Tyree Dillahay.
Yeah.
Like after Bernard, and I was like, I worked in his team for a good while and a lot of good shows. The Thomas Edison one was kind of fun because I actually worked on a short with some other guy that was like a nightmare to work with. That he was like a Thomas Edison impersonator at the Thomas Edison Museum. I hope he doesn't watch this. But
I assure you, he's not.
He will not.
But he was awful. This short was awful, and he was awful. And then I was so glad that they're making fun of Thomas Edison in that episode. Like, this is redemption for me.
I just like to think there was like unmarked envelope that ended up on his desk. It just says "play me," and it's just the episode. He's like, "What is this?"
Yeah, I mean, like Tyree. Like to me, I'm always team Tyree, no matter what I go to. He left long ago, but like what is that? Equesticles.
That was
my favorite one to work on because I actually live in Rhode Island, and Hasbro's headquarters is here.
Yeah.
And actually, like when I was like during the episode, like right before they gave out the scripts, I actually had like a side gig at Hasbro where they met with people that were gonna release the Equestria Girls, which is like more humanoid looking ponies, right? Rather than actual ponies.
That sounds so bad.
That's some Animorph shit.
Yeah. And then I think before the meeting, it was like Tyree sent me like a message like, "Yo, look up bronies."
Yes.
Like study that shit. Yeah. And then you go down the rabbit hole of like bronies and
don't dive too deep, but we're doing an episode on this.
You have to scrub your internet search history.
Yeah. So bronies and what do you call it? Furries.
Yeah.
When we released the episode, it was just like, this is not bronies, it's more furries, and it was just like reading all the stuff that's kind of hilarious. But when I so
It's all for research. It's cool.
I read that they were making fun of it, and then I was doing a side gig at Hasbro, and I had to let them know, like, look, I'm not leaking information here. They were going to do an episode making fun of you guys. So
now might not be the time to launch this toy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. Bronconius was the best. I wish in some way they could bring him back somehow. Oh, did I?
We'd
Was
love
I
to see him back.
like I don't know if I told you guys, but like sometimes I share stupid ideas with like random people. You know how like Bob's Burgers, they're ageless, they don't age. It's, like,
Yeah.
always the same age. I was like, one day Bob should be like, doing something, and then Teddy says something to the degree where he's like, "Oh shit, like 20 years have passed and I haven't aged." And then he goes visits Bronconius because he knew that like he made out with
Fountain of Youth worked.
Yeah. And then Bronconius is in prison. I don't know why he went to prison, but
Probably stealing more ponies.
yeah, and they would just show that the power of the ponies actually caused them to.
It's real.
Yeah.
Pony power's real. Okay.
But they don't experience time. They just constantly relive the same age.
See, this would have been a great comic book segment. Like this would have been fun to watch.
It would never go by. They would never.
No, but still.
It's like, you want him to kiss this plastic horse? I'm like, yes, I don't.
Yeah.
Where's the disconnect here? Listen,
This is a Tina fiction. This is what this is.
This works.
When I visited Tom's Bob Bento Box, I actually tried to like meet with someone to pitch the idea of like Boys for Now show, right? Like it was just about these guys, like boy band, and they do boy band things. Like
We've had more than one person on who either still works on Bob's or used to work on Bob's pitch like different shows. Like there was a Sergeant Bosco show that Mario was chatting about for a while. I know Keisuke, who voices Hawk, wanted to do something with Hawk and Chick again.
Yeah, just basically Hawk as like an old man reminiscing about his days working on those movies and life lessons taught.
I mean, when that stuff happened with Jimmy Pesto, I was like during a meeting, I was just like writing someone on the chat on the side like Jimmy Pesto, like goes like he's actually Jimmy Pesto was actually at DC when the incident happened, and now he's running away from the police, and Bosco was chasing him, right?
Well, was he there for that reason, or was he just it just happened to be here?
They ordered a bunch of pizzas.
In your story.
Yeah, in my story, he was dressed up as the guy, the buffalo.
The shaman, of course.
Yeah. And then he's running away from Bosco, and then he had his idea is that he's going to meet with the flat earthers because that way, because the earth is flat, I can actually escape by going in one direction.
Yeah, you just go over the edge, you're fine.
Yeah.
Just circle the edge. It's easy. I like how Bosco's chasing him, but his jurisdiction kind of just ends at Seymour's Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I thought it'd be like Fugitive, where like
it's just
that'd be fun. Yes,
like, I don't care. He just keeps following him.
Yeah, and then once in a while he would like do a Zoom call with his kids.
He's such an attentive father before all this happened.
Yes,
and then that's how we replace him in the show. But I don't know. That's too weird.
No, that can work. I'd like the idea better if he came back to Seymour's Bay and it was just him and Bosco just chasing each other around town instead of across country.
Yeah,
just kind of keep it all centralized, and they always just kind of miss him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jumps on
like,
the ferry.
I wish,
darn, we missed him.
Like what I like about Simon is like he puts out like fan art, but he's actually like the guy, the supervising director.
He's so quick with it too. Like right after Deadpool Wolverine got announced, he's like, "Got it, did
it." Made an animated short, and it's like that's fun. That would have taken months.
I had a sketch of where Louise got her hat. Like I thought it started when Linda was pregnant with Louise, and she was at the Women's March in DC, and her water broke, and then she re-knitted a hat for Louise. That was my idea, right?
That was your idea.
But they established in the story like soon after that she can't knit.
Which is weird because in the movie they said that she knit the hat.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
No continuity. No continuity.
Again, the Blink guy is just leaving it all out in the open.
He's
He could be that guy.
And be a continuity guy, even though I think Brian Wiley's the show Bible right now. So
yeah, there's some guys there that just know the show way more than I do. Like they're, I don't know how to describe it, like precogs. Like,
we're just sitting in the corner going, nope.
No,
I have a theory that's similar to your hat theory that a certain character that keeps reappearing in certain episodes, Mr. Perry Zambalas, is literally a time traveler who makes sure that things go well for the Belchers throughout the seasons. Because he shows up in the movie, he shows up in all these big instances that happen. He just happens to be there.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. He doesn't even work there anymore.
No, but he keeps coming back. Every season, he's back at least 2 or 3 times. And we're like, what's he doing here?
Yeah, I tried to get myself in the show, but I could never like figure out who. Like by the time I had to leave, I knew who I had to go to, and
yeah. Apparently they cracked down on that, but folks still find their way on.
Yeah,
we're trying to we're vying for an episode where there are 2 mediocre podcasters, and maybe they
Sitting
need
at a booth eating
French fries.
Yeah, the best I could do was insert Tyree in one of the.
Oh, he's in a bunch of episodes. I am, and then this is a running joke amongst JB and myself, but in the movie, there is a character that has 3 distinct tattoos on his arm, in fact, matching mine, and I am fairly certain that I'm in the movie. So
it doesn't look anything like him, but yes.
Yeah, it doesn't look anything like me. Tattoos match.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah,
you can just say that it is. It's fine. I guess.
You have to know the right people. There's so many roadblocks in there. You try to get yourself in there.
Yeah, one mouse-shaped roadblock, if you ask me. But what do I know?
I was trying to.
Who's this person? Who's this person in the back moving? That's not me.
I had a hard time entering Brendan and Melissa into that episode.
Really?
Yeah, like Melissa was already, they already got the 2 like puff, but like trying to get Brendan in there, like there's like, who's this guy? It's not one of the numbers of the incidentals. I'm like, can you run it past Lauren? He'll say yes.
It is.
I know his wife. Can she get it to him?
I mean, it's a very distinct art style. It's literally them in their home movies art style, so it sticks out like a sore thumb. So I mean, I can see them going, wait, what is this? This isn't anything. Well, what are we doing here?
We don't do spiky hair. We don't do that. It's like just ask Lauren. He'll say yes. It makes total sense.
But then you got all 3. You got Coach, and then Brendan and Melissa. So
that would have been great if he could have gone into like red and yellow.
Yeah. He puts on a jacket. Be like, Dad, you need the jacket.
Remember, like Simon, he pieced together like audio from home, like he pieced together from Bob's Burgers and Archer, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I should do it. I have all the freaking audio from home movie, and I could have him yelling, and but to actually do that is like insane. Like that, like everyone's like, oh, crazy, you did the animation, but like to me, it's like you did the audio. That's ridiculous.
That is because to get the inflections to match up and like run a coherent sentence is insane.
A lot.
Yeah,
and to just watch all that happen in real time with like Lauren, like, hey, you want a job? Like, really? Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. That was
nuts. Mean, you should hire a guy that's that crazy to like listen to all the episodes, both shows and
like you say, he didn't have like access to the master, so he's literally just pulling them from the episodes, and that's too much, but good on him.
Yeah, shout out to Simon. I mean, I work under him, but I don't know how I fanboy.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, I always tell people like if you're gonna make a portfolio, do something like a short and enter it that way and follow Simon's stuff. But
it's that simple. Create a show or create a short, put it on our YouTube, post it on Twitter, and then move to LA.
Yeah. And the thing is that I like him because like my brother's name is actually Simon Wong. And then his name is Simon Chong. And in my fantasy world, our names would be put together. And I was like, I'd love to see that. But then he went to LA and then he just shot up all the way to.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I miss.
What the heck? I blinked and all of a sudden he's gone again. What the fuck?
No, he's super talented.
Yeah.
Like Bernard's super talented. Like I don't know. I wish I could shout out everybody, but like Jennifer Coyle. I don't she did early stuff, and she's the one that actually
Harley
found
Quinn
Bernard.
now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's like a rock star in there. She was like you think in terms of like which is the best episode. Like to me, is like which is the best directors, and to me, it's like even though I'm Team Tyree, working under Jennifer was like the best, and I'm not the only one at the studio to think that because she's like. I don't know how to describe it. She's like a punk goth something LA, and then I remember she was driving a purple muscle car. She
has a whole vibe.
Yeah. She's I don't know. I would follow her to hell. I think.
So, do you have a favorite character or characters that like when you see a script or a story come through, you're like, oh, I love this story. I want to work on Luis, or I want to work on Tina, or.
I mean, they're all kind of the same to me right now, but
yeah.
I kind of I'm more of a negative person, so I was like, I'd rather not work on Gene for some reason. Like for some reason, yeah, I'm not vibing with Gene, even though he lives on the East Coast too, and
yeah.
And I actually dated someone that was like the boss of the babysitter of his kid, and I'm like, it's like I can't
trying to connect those dots.
Yes. 4 degrees to Damon.
Yeah. No, Eugene's awesome, but I don't know. For some reason, Gene doesn't appeal to me. For some reason, I like Louise because she's more angry, and I like Tina when she was more horny. Like they kind of toned down her horniness. Because it's problematic.
Yeah, you can't be as horny as you used to be these days.
Yeah,
there was a lot of things that Tina would say in earlier seasons where you're like, oh, that would not fly.
Oh yeah, season 1 and 2 was a wild west.
Yeah. I don't want to live. What was it? I don't want to die a virgin. I have an idea. No, Tina. And it's just like, oh.
Everyone told us not to talk about this movie, and I was like, wow, they're not going to forbid lying. And I was like, and so people ask me what the movie's about, like, Tina's going to lose virginity.
Hell yeah.
It's a real coming of age film.
Yeah, it's like it's just an awkward thing between him and her and Jimmy Pesto.
Now, I'm glad you actually brought up the movie. King of segues here. King of segues.
I mean, can you imagine the orgasm?
Just for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And poor actor has to do that. I think I'm
yeah, just have Dan just hold the line, keep going.
I think we have a recording of him at Comic-Con where he held it for 2 minutes and like 20 seconds, just kept doing it, and everyone's just cheering him on. But it's just like that's too much. That's too much.
No, he's a good writer too, and he wrote one episode. I think he wrote the Equestrials.
Nice. I think he did.
Yeah, and then he kind of never wrote again for the show, but he's a really good writer.
And funny comedian.
Yeah.
Stand up. Yeah.
It's like watching them on stage.
It's weird when you see their persona in real life versus the one on stage.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more animated, but then you get them there reserved. I mean, much like JB and myself, whenever we do like a public thing, it's to a much smaller extent, of course, but we're more animated. But then when you get us one-on-one, we're kind of reserved and in our turtle shell going, please don't talk to me.
Yeah.
But you get on
I'm
stage.
Busy.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm nervous. Leave me alone.
I'm nervous.
Now, I did have a couple questions on this next subject of the Bob's Burgers comic book, mainly because I am in the process of collecting them all. It is a daunting task, to say the least, and very expensive. But how did you come to work on the comic book?
uh, they kind of just offered everybody like if they wanted to work on it to work on it.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know, I drew the zombie horse thing for someone else. Like she wanted a zombie horse, and I drew it, and then I posted on my Instagram, and then they were like, "Oh, this would be a great cover," and then they paid me like $200 for it.
All to get that into print and then represent who actually drew it because they have it listed as Mario.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't think so, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Me and Mario's paths cross a lot.
Yeah,
Like he was actually my assistant director when I directed the episode, but he practically directed the whole thing.
yeah, he's great. You actually signed a couple of my comic books, so thank you for that. He brought them. I mailed them over to him. He brought them over and had a bunch of folks sign them, and you signed 2 of them. So thank you for that. I'm sure you don't remember, but one of them was a zombie horse, and the other one were the kids walking with Coochie Kopi. It was like a horizontal shot. But
yeah, I forgot what the concept was.
The what?
I forgot. Like I drew that as a concept piece.
Oh, gotcha.
And I got.
You also drew the Belchers in Hawaii, didn't you? That was for Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah, that was a Comic-Con in Hawaii.
Yeah, that was fun. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I remember I was just seeing I saw someone with 808, and that's like a Hawaii number, and I remember just reading Bob, and I was like, oh shit, like that's like perfect. And then I drew it for the comic. I don't want to call it Comic-Con because it's a different company.
Mm-hmm.
But I sold it there when I was there, and then it sold well, but I don't know.
Okay, so of course, JB, do we go to Central Park or do we hop into the movie? What do you think?
I mean, we can do movie. And
All
then
right,
if we have
let's go
time,
to
we'll do Central Park.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you here all night. Thank you so much for the time you've given us so far, by the way. Really appreciate it.
No, it's okay. I'll probably forget what's happening.
Yeah, if Daddy Duties sneak up, let us know.
Yes.
Daddy duty? Oh no, they're asleep.
Okay. Yeah, that wasn't code for anything.
I don't drink mommy juice here. I thought it would be better.
Very fancy. So pinky
It's
up.
very Linda. Very Linda.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're talking about the movie.
Oh yes. When did you first learn that the movie was happening, and did you think, yeah, now's the right time for this show to jump to the big screen?
I don't know. That was like a long process. Like you know how like they were like coming out with like a release date and they kept pushing it back.
Kept pushing back and back.
I was on early where they had like the first draft, and the first draft was like huge. It like I forgot the time period. It lasted for like 4 hours long if you timed it out. And then we kind of just worked a little bit on that, and then I don't know. And then they hired a bunch of other people, and then we just went back to the TV show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe that. They put us a retainer for a while. We're just like kind of like fiddling our fingers. Like
It's kind of like waiting.
yeah, because they had to do a rewrite of the second script, and they were just waiting on Lauren and I forgot the other person.
Nora.
Nora, yeah, to do the rewrites.
Now, with that original script, from what you remember to what we saw on the screen, did much change, or was it essentially just the same story, but it was more?
I would say a lot changed. I mean, for 4 hours.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like I remember, I burned it on a bonfire.
It burned for a long time.
Because it just said like if this leaks, we'll know who did it. And so I just burned it on a bonfire when I was like, I broke up with someone. I was burning her clothes.
Just toss this in too. We need some kindling.
Yeah, it burned for a long time. It was a very thick script. There was a lot that changed.
What could have been.
Yeah, I think the plot definitely changed a lot. Like there were like plot holes in it that needed to be plugged up. But I think the way they wrote it was kind of like stream of consciousness.
Yeah. Because from what we've heard from other folks, it was always going to be like and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was always going to be a murder mystery. That aspect of the story was kind of set in stone, but how we got there and the things that happened in between changed a little.
I think it was always a murder mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like when you do a movie, you have to kind of up the ante where like the art goes. You start adding shadows to everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Everything.
Oh yeah, the detail alone was insane in that movie.
Yeah, I think like Bernard, he has a Disney background, so he's he just went to town with all the. I don't know what to call like movie acting. Where to me it's almost overacting, but
They're more expression, more
yeah. While like in TV, it's more like the expression. Delete that. Like I forgot what season, but they actually started deleting. They started like I don't know if I'm revealing stuff, but
minimizing the amount of expressions they could use.
They outlawed smiling. Like no smiles in the episode, like in anything.
Well, there was that one Tina smile. It's the only time you see teeth.
Yeah,
and they're like, that's just stopped immediately. They're like, that's done.
But there was one episode, like when I was assistant director on it, and I had to do all the thumbs for it, and then I think I don't know if it was like to me it was punishment for something. Like, go through the entire episode and delete all the smiles, and I'm like, okay,
Jesus,
I made everyone not smile.
That's a lot.
And there's like it's very subtle. Like there's a formula to it where like Tyree came up with something with the Civic logo for Honda.
Mm-hmm.
Draw the Civic logo and then just trace that, and then that's the mouth you're gonna use. And I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Now, we know leading up to the movie, in the entire season before that, we saw a little Easter egg that kind of got bigger and bigger, the crack in the sidewalk. Was that always something that was planned?
I think so.
To coincide with the movie, regardless of when the movie came out? Yeah,
definitely. I think they were doing that. Like they were telling us all about it. That it has to be there. Mm-hmm. I think I had a scene where it was on the sidewalk, and I had to demonstrate. I had to show that the sidewalk was different.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I was talking about the precogs in.
Yeah.
Like they would see a background that I would put in the storyboard, and they're like, "That's different." That background is from 2005. The salt shakers are in different positions. Like, okay.
Please reconfigure.
Yeah, and you'd feel like you're in trouble for using old stuff. But
you just said, "Do you even watch the show, Damon? What is this? What are you doing?"
Yeah,
I don't read the scripts, guys. I'm sorry. I just draw what I hear.
Yeah, the first episode I worked on was the shark one. Where
the shark one's fun.
He goes in the basement, and I was like, "How does that work?" Because we already wrecked the street with that.
Yeah, that's been the ongoing debate. Is this where the hole's from? The shark? Where's the shark? It's like I don't think the two are connected. But...
Yeah, would they have found the body if the shark was down there? Like a lot of people brought up that question.
Yeah, definitely.
But then again, Bob's doesn't know time, so maybe this happened before the shark.
It's just a parallel split. Everything just splits off.
So I know we get a lot of folks asking us about like deleted scenes, deleted artwork, storyboard, stuff like that. When you make a storyboard or an animatic and they decide, hey, this isn't the route we're going, we no longer need this.
Scrap it.
You guys just delete that, right? You throw it away, you delete it. It's no longer, it's not just hanging out in a vault or anything.
Oh, it's somewhere.
Ooh.
I would, it's hard to find.
Yeah. I assume buried under tons and tons of stuff.
I don't know if I should tell you this one, but like me and Tyree work together well because we have the same sense of humor. We're we're a little bit filthy in mine. Remember the episode Reunion?
Oh yeah.
With the Tatas.
Tatas, yeah.
And then there's a guy with a big zit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And there was a sequence where like it was accumulating. There was like almost a montage where we're cutting back and forth with like something. And then I storyboarded where like the zit popped and then it sprayed on. It was a money shot on Bob, right?
I thought you were gonna say it turned out it wasn't a pimple, it was herpes. I was like, oh, that's a route to go.
Slow motion, like come on the face.
I just remember
I was gonna say it. Thank you.
And then
I think they took that idea though, but they went off screen with it because it happens in the car. And he's
No,
like, Linda,
they-
it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Tyree saw it and he was just like, "This is awesome. I'm gonna fight for it." And
I'm
then
gonna
when they-
fight.
Yeah, because he was like, "I'm gonna fight for this." It's
We've
awesome.
heard that so many times from directors. Like, I'm gonna fight for this, and they're like, so they didn't go for it.
Yeah, I
I
was there
really
when
tried though.
I was there when they reviewed it, and Lauren was like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like,
No, not at all. Not at all. No.
You should have animated it just for like your own little thing, because I can see like a slow mo, like it popping and Bob going like, oh, and just getting the.
It was like that. It was just like, because he loved the guy. He loved what was that Derek D. Matop with the
Yeah. He's the dermatologist.
Yeah.
We've
Oh,
seen
yeah,
that.
'cause, like Gail was in love with him, and then
Yeah.
that's when she sees Derek, and then it would splooge on his.
You are a wordsmith, sir.
That's why me and Tyree got along together. I think he grew up in like Inglewood, Hollywood, so me and him had like we could communicate.
I remember Mario sending me over a couple of animatics that obviously never got past the idea stage, but it was the Bounce Castle episode, and it's the little cousin. It's her birthday, and the kids steal the boat or the bounce house, and they're out in the middle of the ocean, and it's just her just like doing this to both of them, just two middle fingers. Like, oh, this is gold. Obviously, it'd never make it, but that's gold. So,
yeah.
Even like we'll occasionally see the ones where Lauren puts like his note on something, and it was the art crawl episode, and he's like, buttholes need to be bigger, but not too big, but bigger.
Bigger buttholes.
Yeah.
More buttholes.
Yeah.
I
forgot what they call it. The standards, like the people that make sure that it doesn't.
Oh, standards and practices. I think.
Yeah.
You can have 5 buttholes, no more.
I remember telling people like if you like you know you're doing a good job when you are censored in an episode like at least 5 times, like because you should be pushing the envelope. So if you have your scene deleted,
That's how you win Emmys. You push the envelope.
Yeah.
Did you get much of your scenes deleted? Have you ever run afoul of standards and practices? Which I hear is so random. There's never like a set. You
Like
can
rhyme
do
or
this, you can't do
reason.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in home movies I did, but for Bob's it's so you got to follow the script that it doesn't really get to standards and practices before I get like my scene deleted. Like I mean, it's just like simple stuff. Like whenever they have an eating scene in the kitchen, I always try to make them like eat Chinese food. But you know, they're like, don't no.
That's
They
true.
work in a burger restaurant.
They
No.
talk about pad thai and all kinds of different food, but you never really see them eat it.
They're always eating like generic like
Just
American
ham and potatoes. Yeah.
And I was like, can they have like pasta night, pizza night, like tacos or something? I mean,
A pizza night, be like, where'd you get that pizza?
yeah, because he's like a high level chef guy, you know, like he loves food. He should love eating, and he should experiment with like stuff and like.
He just makes the same stuff all the time.
Yeah, he just ordered dim sum or something, you know.
Well, that Gene brings that in. Gene's the adventurous one. Bob,
Yeah.
he loves his burgers, and that's kind of where he draws the line. Or turkeys, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where he
a
kinda
lot
draws
of
the line.
turkey.
I don't know. I mean, I would love to have him just like using chopsticks. I think that would actually cause issues with like animation.
So just to put, because we have a lot of folks in the chat asking, but just to put everyone's questions to rest, there is not a 4-hour cut of the Bob's Burgers movie. That never got animated. That what we see on the screen is what we have.
I think it might have been storyboarded or thumbed out.
Yeah.
And then they saw it, and then they're like, "Okay, this is way too long." Because sometimes you don't know how long this is gonna last.
Right.
And the world works different in movies compared to TV. Like you try to be more cinematic, and so when you try to be that way, you actually have to add more like silent time to things, and like you have to kind of like establish something visually rather than just spelling it out.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I don't, at some point someone told us like, oh, the cut ended up way too long. You're gonna have to rewrite it, cut down the things, and that in itself is just like a difficult thing to do, probably.
Oh,
But after that, you know, like we were on retainer right now. Just eventually, you know, we like storyboarders cost a lot, so you can't keep us on retainer all the time.
right.
So a lot of us just returned back to the TV show. Yeah, I think I worked on the for the movie. The one I worked on was when Luisi's hair like hat fell off, and then she all of a sudden she's okay with it. But other than that, a lot of the other stuff I worked on was probably didn't make it to the movie.
Oh, great. I'm sure people in chat now are just going to be blowing us up like, well, Damon said there was stuff. I'm like, calm down, everybody. Calm down.
It's just thumbs.
It's just
literally
thumbs.
just sketches,
drawings.
stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, because as you said, storyboarding, keeping people on retainer costs money. Animating costs money. So they're gonna thumb it out, look and see how long it's gonna be, and then just be like, it's too long. So we got to go back and cut stuff and rewrite before we send it off to be animated. Because then that's a whole nother realm, isn't it? Just money and time.
Yeah. That's why I don't know. There's many reasons why the release date kept getting pushed back.
Yeah.
COVID didn't help either.
I don't know, because
it gave you more time to work on it for sure.
It did,
like,
yeah.
Like I kind of established that like I've been working from afar for a long time, like before COVID, and I think as a model of like how I work, which is kind of like remotely on a server, it kind of shows everyone that's kind of like it really is possible to just work on a TV show from afar. And I think COVID, like more animation probably got done because of COVID.
Yep. It was the boom of animation for a lot because they're like, no one else can make anything. So all these shows got greenlit and mini series and all kinds of stuff.
And animators in themselves, like a lot of them are introverted. And they don't really care about studio stuff. They would rather like be at home with a dog animating. And a lot of people want that. And I remember I went to like Comic-Con and I told them I worked afar from Bob's Burgers, and they were just like, "Oh, I want that life where you can work from anywhere, and I don't want to live in LA with
all those people."
It's funny. Bento got a new shiny office to have the Great North and Bob's in it, and all of a sudden everything got shut down.
Yeah.
And now everybody's remote work. I know some people have trickled back into the office. I don't know if they're back full force yet, but
I think they're doing a hybrid. Some people are not. I think some people actually live really far away.
I remember we've been told a couple times that when remote work became a thing, people actually left California and like, oh, I don't have to live here and pay $2,000 a week to live. I'm going to Montana.
Yeah, we've had like one of the sound guys is like, I live in Wisconsin on a lake. And he's like, I absolutely love it. And he's like, and then we have like Aaron who lives out in the East Coast. I think it just depends if you can do it and your work doesn't suffer at all from it. They're like, fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's advantages of being in LA.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Like there's a certain chemistry that you have that's funny. Like you can, handle things,
bounce ideas and stuff off of. Yeah.
Well, like if you have an issue, like I think we need to shrink his nose on every scene or something, and then you text the guy, and then you have to wait until he checks his mail. While like if you're at the studio, you can just walk to his office and like, we have an emergency here. Everything that was left, we drew right, and we have to flip everything. And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that 3 hour time difference when it's 10 a.m. your time and 7 a.m. their time, you're like, oh, somebody needs to wake up over there.
Yeah,
I got an issue right now.
Yeah, I think it's like
found that out.
Yeah, a lot of trivial stuff that would be like trivial for everyone else is like an emergency for animation. Like I think I don't know if I did it or not, but it was just like someone drew Tina right-handed, but she's left-handed, so we're gonna have to change the whole scene.
I'm sure there was a little part of you going like, "Who's gonna notice?"
Yeah, I was like, "Come on, man! There's no continuity in Dexter's lab."
That's when you get the angry tweets, like, "Excuse me, actually."
Yeah, the precogs.
Excuse me. She bites her pencil from the left, not the right. This needs to be redone.
Yeah, they're a big stickler for things, and they keep revising like the character sheets on Bob all the time, and I can't tell the difference between like 2018 Bob and 2019 Bob.
Well, you guys continued the cinematic, or for the most part, you kind of brought that back to the show post movie, which is fantastic. So hopefully, we see a lot more cinematic episodes come season 15.
No, I think
No,
We're tone it down. We're going squiggle vision.
it's cute you thought that. No.
I would say the writing makes it like it's more difficult because the writers like are putting them in crazier like scenarios. But I think the idea of the show is kind of like a Wes Anderson feel of like composition wise, where everything's kind of like more or less symmetrical. And I don't know, it's more of a simplified way of composing things. But I remember early Bob's when they didn't have all these rules. It was much more like you could do you could put the camera in crazy places. Like I think that's why I like doing the Thomas Edison one. Like if you compare that one to like later ones, it's like the action sequences like it's not so symmetrical where all the things happen in the middle. There's more dynamic shots.
Now you're knee deep into production on 15 right now, right? Or has that kicked? I know we've been doing table reads, but I don't know if episodes are actually in production at this point.
No, we're in production. I'm actually in the middle of 2 episodes right now.
Ooh.
What do you want to know?
Everything. If you could just like share your screen with the script, that'd be rad.
No, it's a little hard.
No.
The writer's strike really caused a dent in Hollywood, and everyone's trying to catch up with it financially and time wise. They're gonna do it. I mean, Hollywood's a machine, and there's nothing more efficient than Hollywood than like probably the military.
Yeah.
Can confirm. Now I know obviously everybody goes in with the best of intentions. Are you, and feel free to say no comment or I don't know, but are you working on the assumption that you guys are doing a full 22? And then the network will decide what it decides?
I don't know. It's beyond my pay grade.
Yeah. I got my episodes and that's all I know.
No comment.
Fair enough. It's weird because you hear, especially coming out of the strike, we heard a bunch of stuff, and then we ended up getting 14 episodes. And it was like, what the hell is going on? We heard X, Y, and Z. So it's hard to know exactly what's happening, but from what we're told, that's a network decision. So above all of our pay grades.
Yeah, it's a little hard to know what's going on, but I know. I mean, they're dealing with millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because like the industry hasn't caught up to where it was before. Like like COVID was good, but then the writer's strike was bad.
Yeah.
It was good for the writers, but for the people.
That's one way to put COVID, but yeah.
Yeah, and then a lot of people didn't get hired back, and they're still like freelancing for like they're open to work out there. It's kind of sad because you know a lot of these people that are looking for work.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have no idea what happened there on my end. Hopefully everything
They went fine.
properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, we see that a lot on Instagram, like animators and people from the shows just being like looking for work because it's just slowing down because of the COVID boom, and then everything kind of stopped with the writer's strikes.
Yeah.
And some industries, like the video game industry, has been hit like severely hard. Like somebody was telling us that essentially the video game industry is in like a recession of sorts. Like everything seems fine. Like, if like you're a Call of Duty or an Elden Rings, but like smaller studios, there's just nothing.
It's a little tough. I don't know too much about it, but like I don't know. I get back to becoming an animator and stuff and doing art.
Yeah.
Like one of the big things that happened to me was like I'm in an elementary school. I'm the best artist there. There's another elementary school like next door. And there's the best artist there. My name is Damon Wong. His name is Shikai Wang. When middle school happened, I sat behind him for every class, like math class, science class, like homeroom, and we would just draw all the time. So we're kind of just art buddies. But he was kind of like an anime guy. Like he actually got into like Dragon Ball Z before everybody else did, and I made fun of him for that.
Oh.
like, yeah, I feel bad, but I apologized like 30 years later.
Yeah, that's that bully in you. You got it.
Yeah.
Because he liked the girl and he drew her and gave it to her, but it was in like anime style, and
It's always
didn't
about
like
a girl. Oh no.
It's a missed opportunity.
But where I was getting is that he eventually became like one of the art directors at Bungie and worked. He worked on Halo, and he's actually now art director on Destiny, I think.
Jeez, Pete.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was amazing. And like he was, I don't know, a good Asian where he was trying to be an engineer, and he didn't do any art classes and stuff like that. But like it was his calling to, like if he did become an engineer, like life would be really sad for me to know that he loved animation, but he ended up, building bridges or something.
Just in the digital world, that's all.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he's in one of the biggest companies out there, and I think they got bought up by Sony, but yeah, I tried to, when we got laid off from Writer's Strike, I was like, can I try to start, do work for there? And he's like, nah, probably can't. You're too cartoony,
Hold on, let me click on something there. There we go. Now, before we jump into Central Park, I did have one question. Do you think, for somebody who doesn't actually live in LA, do you think nowadays it's not as important to live in LA in order to work in the industry, or at least break into the industry? Obviously, there are pros and cons to being there, putting in FaceTime with folks and rubbing elbows, but is it as necessary as it was 20 years ago? Or even 10 years ago?
If you have a network, you could probably do it from afar. But if you're kind of just like entering it, it's probably easier to show your face there and kind of make connections that way. Because people will remember you for what they'll just remember you.
Is schooling as important as it used to be?
I never thought schooling was that important. Like I told you, I only did one. One course, but I think your demo reel is probably the most important thing to do. Like if you never did any schooling, but you just animated like an awesome 5-second sequence, you might get the job from that. Or you just kind of demonstrate how much of a psycho you are, like Simon did. Like they'll hire you, and it's public, and everyone gets to see the evolution of him becoming like supervising director.
It seems nowadays you can learn anything on YouTube. Like the guy who did the electricity in my current place, he learned everything off YouTube, and I was a master electrician. So it seems like maybe schooling and learning all these different programs and isn't as important when you can just kind of pick it up and do 90% of the stuff on your phone these days.
It's kind of hard. If you went to one of the California schools, I forgot, the Art Institute, that probably helps you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one that's known as like the pipeline through Disney and Pixar and studios.
Yeah.
And then out here we have SCAD. So
yeah.
Like if you do those, you probably develop a certain network of people. Like me, just getting a job at Soup to Nuts. My network was like Lauren Bouchard, so I could get a job there. But like if I had to start off from scratch, I think it'd be just easier to be there and to apply and to show my face at like union meetings and going to events there. Like there's a lot of events that you can kind of network in.
It's great because I know a lot of folks. Obviously, not everybody can just up and pack and move to LA. So you have folks like Brooke Kiesling who goes out to like SCAD and goes out to all these other schools and kind of talks to the kids there and goes to the talent as opposed to the talent having to come out there a lot of the time. So that's great too.
Yeah, I think it depends on the personality. Like a lot of people are opting to try work from home, but there is a thing when you work in a studio. It's a lot of fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the joking around. Like I remember working there. I sat next to Perry the Zombolus.
Yeah,
and it was great. I haven't worked in a studio for like ages, and it was just like I don't know. It was like it was fun because you eat out and then you get to hear a bunch of like a bunch of like rumors going on. Yeah. I remember, oh shit. Like in my other studio, we're just like, oh, who's sleeping with who?
Oh yeah, of course. It's much harder to get drugs delivered to your house if you're, or as opposed to the studio. You don't have a drug person at your house too, so
Yeah.
This is true.
That guy's doing well.
He's doing well.
He moved to LA and he became a really good 3D artist. But yeah,
it all works out. Drugs lead to work, so
yeah, it's not bad. Like I asked Tyree, like, what's the deal? Because when I went to LA, I was like, how come no one's offered me any drugs? Like, I find it very rude, even though I don't do drugs.
it's like I want to be asked.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's more about at least being thought of.
yeah. I thought that was like everyone's friendly in LA, but to me, it's like you don't offer anyone drugs. Yeah, you're fake.
There's a lot of drug addicts, but I'm not seeing a lot of drugs. I don't know where I gotta go, but
Yeah.
maybe did you try standing on the corner just asking folks, "Do you have drugs? Do you have drugs? Do you have
No,
drugs?"
I asked Tyree, and Tyree's like, yeah, you can get that shit anywhere.
But nobody knows where. It's always you can get it anywhere, but they never say where anywhere is.
I think I bet if I asked the security guard at the old place, he would have known. Because I think I had a good conversation of DMT.
Yeah.
Like we should. Oh no, that was one of the people that was under me. He's like, oh, there's one drug I want to use. It's DMT. It's like in a cactus that you can find anywhere in California.
Was this Joe Rogan? Were you speaking to Joe Rogan?
No. It was,
He's a big DMT kid.
He's talking about peyote, but yeah.
Peyote. No, I got to figure if there's drugs anywhere, it is in the parking lot across from the old Bento studio in Burbank. That looked like a big drug hangout. So check there if you're ever in the area. Before we wrap up, we would hate ourselves if we didn't at least ask about Central Park, a show that we thought was criminally underrated and didn't get the push that it deserved. Good job, Apple TV. That's neither here nor there. You came into Central Park during its second season, and we have heard about the demands and the attention to detail that came with this project, especially the music and animating those giant scenes like that. Did you ask to work on Central Park, or were you kind of like, hey, I'm going over here, I need you to come with me?
I think the latter.
Yeah.
I mean, I was happy to work on it. I mean, oh wait, I saw the storyboard pilot, and Bernard did it, and it was fucking awesome. It was just like, holy shit, this is like, oh my god, like, how talented are you? But yeah, it was like it was so high level, you know. It was just, it's like you got like Broadway people singing stuff, and the animation was on point, and it was hilarious. And I was, part of me is like they offered the latter, but then I also, you know, wanted to get on there too. But the show that was on the early sketches is a totally different, like, it looks totally different than what the final animation was. Like before, it didn't look like Bob's at all. But
yeah, I was gonna say the shows like The Great North and Central Park and Bob's kind of live in this animated world.
Yeah,
similar to the Squiggle Vision world.
There's like difficulties with the rules of Bob, like the Bob's world, where like there's no teeth and no smiles. No smiles, and there's like all these eye issues. But like if you're having someone sing, you want them to close their eyes and like belt out something. With teeth. But you couldn't do that. So there was like a lot of people just singing, like, you know, with plain face. But yeah, it was, I don't know how to describe it. When we worked on it, the actual actors, we didn't have their voices singing it. We had like stand-ins. So whenever I watched the final show, it was just like, I kind of like the original. Because like Hollywood's filled with very talented people, and a lot of them are assistants, and they're like, oh, you need someone to sing it? I'll do it, you know.
While sliding you a demo tape, is like, gee, you just want to pass this along. You know.
I think that's how Adele started. Like, she was just like, I'm gonna sing. I sing like this is how it's supposed to sound, and she just rocked the mic, and then, you know, you're like, actually, you actually sound better than the actual person. But no, it was, yeah, I mean, it was great. I worked on it, like Josh Gad and his name? Aaron Burr.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
God bless it.
Leslie Odom and
Leslie Odom. There you go.
Yeah. Like he went to Carnegie Mellon. Like Josh Gad, I missed him by 1 year. You know.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's when you saw the first season, we always point to the very first scene in the very first episode where there's 1,000 extras, everything's moving, you have to animate every little thing. Seeing that, did you go, I want to tackle this? Or were you like, maybe not so much?
Like it's tough because it's like, oh, this is New York City.
Yeah.
But every extra is gonna cost you money and time.
Mhm.
So like this is the most sparse New York City ever.
Yeah.
They're like you draw like a scene down a street and like there's nobody there. There's no cars parked there. There's no traffic. And you're like, it's kind of like Bob's, where like it's New Jersey, but where are the people? You know?
Yeah. We're catching them at just the right time.
They're just never on Ocean Avenue.
Yeah, and I know New Jersey. I've been there many times. And finding parking is like one of the problems with living in New Jersey. Like, there's no parking, and there's just a lot of parking on Ocean Ave.
Now, we had a question in the chat here. How did working on Central Park compare to Bob, especially with the musical numbers per episode? Obviously, you were saying, especially with like the facial structure, they had to emote through their face, and that was something you didn't do on Bob's. But was it really like a night and day drastic change, or?
No, it's kind of like there's similarities and there's some differences. Like the musical numbers are way better than Bob's.
We heard it was like 3 times the budget for just the music.
Like I love Kristen Shaw's voice, but you know her singing is not as good as like a Broadway singer.
Of course, yeah.
And so like you know
we didn't
the music
that.
like the music, like that's the part that was just like blew me away. Like the level of music that they had coming out of that show.
Yeah,
like, tip top. Not as good as my idea with Boys for Now, but
no, clearly not.
A missed opportunity, truly.
Clearly not.
Yeah, but like working on the music scenes, it can drain you a lot. Like if you keep doing like musical numbers, because you have to keep on. Your imagination has to be very like active, and I think at one point they wanted me to do a lot of the musical numbers, and then at some point I was just like, can I not do the musical numbers?
Do anything but. I'll do the rest of the episode, just not the musical number.
Yeah, because it can drain you, just musical numbers.
Because it's just so much to do.
Plus, having to listen to the song over and over and over and over.
Yeah. I mean, I'm used to that. But, like, I think for difficulty in animation, like, fight scenes and musical numbers are, like, the two things that are difficult. But you kind of want to tackle them, but then, like, there's some point where you're just like, I'm drained. I don't know this genre. I don't know anymore, you know? Kind of drained, I guess.
Like, I've done it, I've nailed it, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going back to Bob's.
Yeah, but there are some musical numbers that are just like,
Just
like I don't know,
insanely good.
Yeah, they're great. Like the rhyming sequences are just like, oh my god! And it, like a lot of times the lyrics change from when we did it to the final, and it's a lot better. I forgot which one. I like one of the ones I did was like what was the term? It's like Toscano.
Oh,
yeah, that's a good one.
This one sucks. Get another one.
Yeah.
I remember listening to that. I was like, holy shit, this is freaking awesome. Like,
yeah, I gotta ask whoever was on it. I gotta find out who does the drums for the songs. I assume it's just one drummer. I'm trying to get the tablatures for a particular song because I want to learn it. And it's that I did not account for this, where they're in the park and it's dark and all that. It's one of my favorite songs. It's amazing. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a difficult show. Just what they're asking for and like how you imagine like what it should be. Like what I imagine it should be is light years from what it actually got released.
Yeah, you would think with all that they were asking of you all that Apple would have put a little more promotion behind it. Sorry, that's just me thinking out loud.
They just started their network, you know. They don't really know. They have hired people that know what they're doing, but it's like
It seems like they only advertise to people who already know that they exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like people that buy an Apple product, you can get free, Apple TV. But
Yeah.
what
are they? No, they're not emailing me asking my opinion. So
yeah, they don't have a giant library, and no one's because like for Netflix, like I got Netflix to watch something else, but oh my god, this other thing is awesome.
Mhm.
There's none of that for Apple.
No.
but they always have like the big stars. Like my wife's watching a show right now that has like Kristen Wiig and Ricky Martin for some reasons in it, and a bunch of other people. And they always have like the big stars, but they never advertise their stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, well, unless you're Ted Lasso, nobody knows. What was that?
You think they could like just insert themselves into like an iPod?
Literally.
Yeah, they did it with the U2 album. I don't know why they couldn't just download a trailer to all of our phones, but
I don't know. Music, like doing music in TV or movies, there's a lot of legal issues that are involved.
Oh yeah.
I remember I was trying to do a short, and at some point you did the math, and you're like, the musician's getting paid the most out of everyone here.
Yeah.
And, you guys did more like overtime and like most of the work, and this guy wrote the music 3 years ago.
Yep.
And we're only using 10 seconds of it, but we have to pay him a royalty.
Oh God, yeah. It's not just a one-time thing. It's every
it's
time that
not.
commercial airs. Yeah. Bono gets a new pair of sunglasses or whatever.
Yeah, music stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to deal with. I mean, you're a lawyer, so maybe you can figure out.
That's right. I need to be an entertainment lawyer. Then that's where the money's making. Just go after everybody who's making stolen IP.
Yeah.
Cease and desist.
Jack for like the home movies guy, like he actually did a little tune on home movies or something, and then someone actually reused it in some other like production, and then like one day he just like, I got a check in the mail.
It's always good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun songs on home movies.
Home movies?
Yeah, there's like what's his name? Dwayne would always make the music.
Yeah.
But I always liked his songs because they're just ridiculous. It's just Brendan Small shredding.
Yeah, Brendan. He's freaking talented.
That guy's insane. He does the vocals and guitars on Metalocalypse. And he's a touring musician with the band. It's
yeah.
The dude's
they're popping
crazy.
through town.
Should go see him.
I'm thinking about it.
All right, so we're well past 2 hours. We got one more thing we want to bring up that we saw on the IMDb, and we wanted to touch base about it or on it. Good Times. I didn't even know this was an animated revival that was happening, but from what we heard, you worked on a couple episodes of this revival for Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, mostly because I just wanted to work with Tyree again.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Tyree was involved with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that like Stephen Curry was involved with it too, but yeah, he was a revival, and then he got me with 6 Point Harness to do like part-time work on it because I was involved at the same time.
So it sounds like whatever Tyree's doing, you'll jump through fire to go work with him. For the most part,
I mean, he got hired by
Ish.
he got hired by Sony Pictures, and like that's like the big guy in Hollywood right now. Like after Spider-Verse, like everyone wants to work with them. Like they kicked everybody's ass. They kicked Pixar's ass. They kicked Disney's ass. And,
if only they could make a good live action movie.
If only,
If only.
Oh.
But yeah, it was just like I want one of those Spider-Verse Air Jordans. I just want to go.
Oh yeah, he's a big sneakerhead.
Yes.
Yeah. Like when we do these things like through, we didn't call it Zoom, but like what we do now, and then early on it would just be a wall of like shoes in the back. Mm-hmm. Like this guy's balling, but he's just like, don't tell anyone because someone's gonna rob me if
they know I have all these. Yeah.
Like he could, if he sold all his shoes, he could probably, not work for like a good 5 years or something.
I can't remember what. I think I either went to a gallery or something, and they had one of the installations was just a bunch of, I think they were the Jordans or Nikes or something. And I can't remember if his name was attached to it or he had tweeted it or something. but I remember him being a huge sneakerhead and the nicest guy in the world. I got to meet him the one time I was there, and I don't know if it's because I'm 5'2", but I remember him being super tall.
Yeah, he's super tall.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And I didn't know he was like
that's
doing
legit.
Yeah, I didn't know he was doing stuff with Steph Curry, and he's posting pictures with Steph Curry.
Yeah,
And,
that feels like something you should tweet your friends.
Yeah, and he's like taller than him, and then Steph Curry, he's like wearing glasses and he's wearing like dad shoes, and like the best shooter in the NBA has eye problems.
He's dad shoes? Well, he is a New Balance guy, so that checks out.
Yeah, but no, he's
Is he New Balance?
Under Armour.
Oh, he's Under Armour. That's right.
Under
Who did
Armour
the
guy,
New Balance shoes that everybody's ragging on?
Uh,
I'm more of a hat guy myself. So
yes, he is.
all right. Well, it has been 2+ hours. This is easily the longest episode we've done outside of Andy Kindler.
Yes.
Only because he kept going on these long rants.
Okay.
But we want to thank you very much for sitting down with us, answering all these questions. We got a lot of folks in the chat going, release the 8-hour cut. And I was like, there's not an 8-hour cut to be released.
There isn't.
Everybody.
We talked about that.
Stand down.
Well, I've lied to people what happened in the movie. So
There you go.
I don't know if I forgot. I might have told one of you guys that they killed off Gene in the movie.
Yeah, that's what we figured.
Really? So
Yep.
I might be lying.
It's in the cut. Damon doesn't like drawing him, so he got rid of him.
Here's what's going to happen, Damon. I'm going to get messages about that. And you're like, you need to follow up with him. So I need the animatics. I need the drawings. I'm like, it's not real, guys.
It's not real.
Or maybe it is.
If you have more home movies questions, I don't
Yeah, did you draw Luis? We know there's a drawing in the vault somewhere, but was there ever pitch Luis in the movie without the hat being shown?
I don't think so.
That's what we figured. What we figured. JD, any more hard-hitting movie questions like the fish odors 9/11? Was it all connected? Maybe that's in the sequel. I don't know.
Not at all.
Okay. All right.
No, he was more than generous with those questions about the movie.
Okay. Well, JB, I will let you take the wrap.
All right. Well, I get to do the wrap. Wow, that's a first. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
What do I do? I haven't done it. You do.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Damon, thank you very much. We really appreciated all your time here and answering all our questions and our fans' questions here. Is there anything you'd like to plug or think the folks should know about before we kind of put a pin in all this?
I'll just plug Tyree.
Yeah.
He has a movie coming out in 2006, I think. It's called GOAT.
2006?
26.
Oh, okay.
20, I don't know. But it's on his Instagram, but it's called GOAT.
Okay.
I'm sure it's about goats.
Oh, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Just goats wearing Nikes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just balling, playing basketball, Jordans. And Gene Belcher's in it for all you guys who are wondering. He's in it too.
A dead Gene Belcher's in it. A dead Gene Belcher.
I want to weasel my way into working on that show, but like I don't know if I could do that. It's another level.
Just ask him. Just
What's
hey,
what's the worst thing that could happen?
If you just sit down and start working, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. Why don't you make a short and cut it just about goats?
Grab the audio
and then just put it on X.
You know, he was in
Tyree.
He was in the second Spider-Verse.
Tyree?
Yeah, there's a scene where a guy robs a shoe store, and then the sign has Tyree's face on it.
Yeah, a drawing or his actual photo?
I think it's his photo.
Ah, shit! I gotta go back and watch that. That's cool. God, that's cool. I remember hearing that he left, like when he left Bob's. I was like, oh no, he's done so many great episodes. What's gonna happen? He's like, oh, he's leaving for Sony. I was like, oh shit. Okay, he's big league now.
Yeah, he was a hustler. Like he grew up in Inglewood and Hollywood, so the hustle is like nothing for him. But for me, it's just like I can't do all these things. It's too much.
Yeah,
I gotta stick to one thing. But he's one of the most talented artists that I know of. Like style wise. Yeah. Like Chris is probably the best, like organizational wise.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Tyree's probably, if you've seen him draw like stuff like on the fly, it's like holy shit. These guys.
It's infuriating for somebody who's not talented like myself as far as arts go. It's infuriating that somebody can like sit there and sketch something real quick, and I'm going, all right, let me do this, and eventually this will kind of look like a sad turtle, but it was supposed to be a basketball. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, like we did Equesticles, right?
Mhm.
And he said that he actually bought like a picture from this guy, Valley, I forgot his name, but he did like a lot of the like Wonder Woman stuff. Richard Valley, I forget, but yeah, he's like stylistically like pretty awesome. And we took a lot of stuff from one of his shorts that he did. Where, you know, when Bob is like drinking and getting drunk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like when he's actually drinking his bottle, that's like the same shot of a girl.
Of a what?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I'll watch it on the replay.
I forgot what the short was, but it was fucking awesome. It was like he came out with another movie like by himself. Like he did a whole movie by himself. Robert Valley.
Okay.
Like that guy is sick. Like if you study him, like, oh, he did that. I've been watching his stuff for a long time.
Okay, as one of those folks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Robert Valley and Tyree Dillahay are our two plugs.
Yeah, the GOAT.
The GOAT. Tyree's movie, The GOAT. We'll post that on our Instagram.
Yeah, Tyree, I want get me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Put me in it.
We'll shoot him a message. Tyree, can you put Damon in here, please?
I don't know. My bandwidth is pretty low these days. Yeah.
Preaching to the choir, and we're doing so much less than you. You are burning the candle at both ends, sir, and we appreciate all your hard work, though.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
Well, we'd love to have you on again in the future. Hopefully, our paths will cross. We'll be at Comic-Con, so if you're there, maybe we'll run into you. That's a going answer. She's like, I don't want to do that.
I have another kid coming in the room. So.
Ooh, well, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, this has been From the Great North to Wonder Wharf, your unofficial one-stop destination for bento box information. As always, I am Mike.
I'm JB. That's Damon.
That's Damon. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.